Right now Indian household has $11 trillion of household savings. उसमें से सिंगल डिजिट पार्टिसिपेशन है इक्विटी में. यूएस में अगर आप वो नंबर देखें तो 40% पार्टिसिपेशन है इक्विटी में इन द हाउस सेविंग ओवरऑल. अगर हम 5% इंक्रीमेंटल सेविंग वो $11 ट्रिलियन का भी ले आते हैं अगले 10 साल 15 साल में, दैट इटसेल्फ इज $500 बिलियन ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट इन इक्विटी दैट कैन कम.
Markets reward patience, but understanding markets, that comes from learning directly from the people who have spent years inside them. Welcome to MF Bharat Learn from Master series, where we go beyond headlines and market noise to bring you conversations with the minds shaping India's investment landscape. Joining us today is Nikhil Kapoor, Head of Research and Fund Manager at LIC Mutual Fund. Hello Nikhil, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for inviting me here. It's an honor to be part of the show.
Nikhil, you have spent over a decade in Indian markets. Just wanted to know what has changed in the investor behavior, over this time.
Actually, a lot have changed. When I started my career just out of the global financial crisis, the investors' risk appetite was very different. The way investor perceive equities was very different. उस टाइम पे जब हम इन्वेस्टर से बात करते थे, रोड शोज़ करते थे, उस समय परसेप्शन ये था कि हमारा प्रिफर्ड एसेट क्लास रियल एस्टेट है. सब रियल एस्टेट के बारे में बात करते थे. फिर आता था गोल्ड, फिर आता था एफडी, फिर आता था इक्विटी. इक्विटी का एक्चुअली परसेप्शन ये था कि वो टैक्स सेविंग इंस्ट्रूमेंट है. इट वाज नेवर लुक्ड इनटू एज अ वेल्थ क्रिएटिंग और कंपाउंडिंग एसेट क्लास. This has changed dramatically, and lot of things has changed since then. There were a lot of enablers such as demonetization happened, COVID happened. At the same point in time, between 2010 and 2020, all efforts to the industry, all credit to the industry, there was so much of digitalization that happened, whether it was digital broking companies that came in, whether it was AMC adopting easier KYC norms. It made it easier for investors to invest. ये तो something that is people talk about it. There was another subtle change that was happening in India that I witnessed over a period of time. The investor base itself changed. अगर आप देखें तो हम जो कहते हैं कि millennials हैं, millennials entered the workforce. They were hitting their 30s. People who were born after 1980s, they were hitting their 30s after 2010. And then those people became the dominant household earners. They were well read, well informed, and for the first time we started seeing that investors are seeking risk. They were well read and they knew what they were looking at. So in that sense, the perception changed dramatically, and that created a very massive change in the behavior of the investors. In fact, if you look at it, when I started my career, there was about 4 crore demat account across India. Today we are 17 crores demat account. There was about 4.8 crore folios, mutual fund folios back then. Today we are talking about 27 crores kind of folio numbers today. Even SIP numbers, 2016 के पहले का तो SIP number शायद नहीं है मेरे पास, but April 2016 I remember SIP number was merely 3,000 crores, 3,100 crores. Today latest number is above 30,000 crores. Just to give that perspective, 30,000 crores monthly SIP number is irrespective of whether the market is up or down, irrespective of what the global world is happening in the global world, or what is the global leaders talking about. 1,000 crore rupees, more than 1,000 crore rupees of investment comes from the retail investors in the equity markets daily, and that's a big shift in terms of how investors perceive equity as an asset class. So yeah.
No, I totally agree. I mean, digitization has really changed, how, retail investors, they look at different assets to invest in. Okay, Nikhil, tell me, what attracted you to equity research and, portfolio management?
Actually, it was curiosity more than anything else. There were many questions in my head. Why does one company earn 20% on their return on capital, while the same company working in the same geography with the same sector doing the similar kind of product earn a 8% kind of return of capital? There were many questions such as what happens to industries when economic cycle changes, which industries behave in a different fashion. Those questions attracted me towards the equity market, because equity market gives me an opportunity to look into a bird's eye view to various industries. So that was a starting point. What I realized was that market is actually a very complex intersection of human behavior, business reality, and macro cycles. And equity research is a process which try to piece by piece demystify this block, this intersection. So that was where I started my journey from.
So this was, while you were doing your MBA
Yes,
and
yes,
you
yes,
got
yes.
interacted. Good, that's good. Okay, Nikhil, tell me what is, a research process, for a big institution like LIC Mutual Fund. So how does you start with the research?
Look, any institution, the research process is not just person dependent. It is a well-defined, documented process and governed process, which is a framework which every analyst needs to follow. So, although the analyst's job is to research on the respective sectors that they have assigned, they will obviously do a deep dive on what is happening in the sector. Companies that they are tracking, they will do management quality check, they will do financial quality checks, they will do projections on the financials, they will meet management, they will meet suppliers, they will meet customers. Those are the regular processes that we anyway follow. All of those inputs from those research goes into a financial model, which is a forecasted financial model, which is actually a backbone of investing. If a analyst is still convinced that this company is growing, then comes the valuation part of it, where we run DCF, where we run residual income model. Those complex models के बाद भी अगर एक एनालिस्ट को लगता है कि ये इन्वेस्ट करने लायक है, फिर जाके वो प्रेजेंट करता है पूरी टीम को, जिसमें CIO, फंड मैनेजर्स, बाकी एनालिस्ट डिबेट अबाउट द कंपनी. The fund manager actually stress tests every assumption that has been made by the analyst. What will happen if macroeconomic situation changes? So all those kind of detailing happens. Only after those aspects, the stock is approved and it is bought in the research universe. Post which a fund manager will apply liquidity filters, will apply depending on whether the mandate is there. कोई फंड मैनेजर है जो सिर्फ लार्ज कैप संभाल रहा है and the company is small cap, then they would probably not do it. Someone who is managing small cap will look into it. So those kind of things happen post that. But yeah, it's a well-defined process which every analyst needs to follow.
It's more of a top down or
It
bottoms
is
up?
completely bottom up actually.
It completely bottom up.
Actually top down, we use top down more from a gauge that how much risk should we be carrying in the portfolio. So it's like a speedometer for us. So if macroeconomic situation is doing well and there is benign risk in the macroeconomic situation, we might increase a little bit of a risk on the portfolios. But given the scenarios that we are, we reduce the risk. So we use macros as an indicator to manage our risk rather than finding stocks through the risk.
Okay, Nikhil, tell me, I mean, there's a lot of, volatility, geopolitical tensions, this Iran-US war is taking place. How should investors, interpret, all this that is going on?
Right. So there are three parts to it. One is geopolitical aspects. Second is, of course, inflation on the energy prices. Now, thing is that it is impossible for anyone to predict what will happen from a geopolitical point of view. I don't think anybody's guess would work here. Even people sitting in Iran would not know what will happen tomorrow. So I think it's not very fruitful for us to keep on debating on what will happen on geopolitical scenario. But what we understand from data point is that, look, irrespective of the fact that if this war situation settles down, it will take about 4 to 6 months for energy prices to settle. It is not going to be immediate action because energy prices is expected to stay elevated for a longer period of time. There is a supply chain of tankers which has actually disrupted. There are refineries which are shut down, which needs to be restarted. So all of those will take some time. Over and top of that, what is also needs to be understand to where is the energy prices going is that if you look at India, right? India is right now sitting at a inventory of about 250 million barrels, which is about six to 7 weeks of inventory that we have. Globally, if you look at combine this inventory, this is about 7.8 billion barrel inventory that globally is there. This is a decadal low, 10-year low. So even if the situation improves, what will happen is everybody will pump up the inventory back to the normal levels, which itself will mean that demand will outpace the supply. So we expect the energy prices to stay elevated. We hope our base case scenario is that we hope that the geopolitical tension resides within a month or so. But irrespective of that, I think this will have an impact on inflation. This will have an impact, broader impact on the macroeconomic situation. For every $10 of rise in crude, it's about 40 basis point of increase in CPI inflation, and about 0.4% impact on the current account deficit, which of course is reflecting in your rupee movement as well. So yeah, this is a situation that is going to be remaining with us for some time.
So what do you think, investors should be doing at this time?
Look, here at this juncture, when there is a lot of uncertainties, the first thing is that you cannot look into equity markets from a 1 year perspective, because Q4 numbers so far has been decent. Q1 we will see actual impact of war kicking in. So FY27 numbers will obviously look lower than what has been anticipated. So there will be. So my suggestion would be that look at beyond 1 year when you're looking at equities, or you hedge your risk through either a multi-asset kind of a fund where you get a diversification naturally by the fund managers. That will be the prudent strategy at this juncture.
Okay, Nikhil, when you analyze any company, what are the three things that you see?
Actually, it's an interesting question. देखिए, three things में काफ़ी सारी complexity है. It's never as simple as analyzing companies just by looking at three things. But जो सबसे पहली चीज़ एक इन्वेस्टर्स को देखनी चाहिए वो है मैनेजमेंट क्वालिटी. नाउ एक मैनेजमेंट क्वालिटी जज करना आसान नहीं होता बिकॉज इट्स अ सब्जेक्टिव टूल. बट कुछ चीज़ें हैं जैसे कैपिटल एलोकेशन पॉलिसी है. आप लास्ट 10 साल का एनुअल रिपोर्ट देख लीजिए. जो कैश फ्लोज कंपनी ने बनाए हैं वो कहाँ गए, कहाँ री इन्वेस्ट हुए, क्या वो उसी रिटर्न ऑन कैपिटल में इन्वेस्ट हुए जो कंपनी लेवल पे थी, या वो डाइल्यूट हुए. और अगर डाइल्यूट हुए कुछ नए सब्सिडीज़ में या नए वेंचर्स में, तो क्या वो सक्सेसफुली टर्न अराउंड हो पाए. सो दैट इज़ द फर्स्ट आई थिंक इंडिकेटर दैट वी विल सी. देन देयर आर अदर थिंग्स सच एज कितना डिसिप्लिन है मैनेजमेंट में इन टर्म्स ऑफ द डेट. जो बिज़नेस में ही कितनी कैपिटल इंटेंसिटी है, कितना रिक्वायरमेंट होता है बिज़नेस को रन करने के लिए. सो दोज विल बी द स्टार्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क. द सेकेंड लेयर एस्पेक्ट जो आता है वो है जो यूनिट इकोनॉमिक्स है एक बिज़नेस की जो होनी चाहिए, जिससे एक बियॉन्ड अ 15% काइंड ऑफ अ लेवल ऑफ रिटर्न ऑन कैपिटल अगर कंपनी बना सकती है ऑन अ सस्टेनेबल बेसिस ऑन, तो वो एक बड़ा एस्पेक्ट आ जाता है जिसमें इंडस्ट्री एनालिसिस भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. बिकॉज विल इंडस्ट्री अलाउ दैट कंपनी टू मेक सस्टेनेबल, so is there a moat in a company or not, is in the way we are assessing. And then come other financial aspects, cash flow analysis, working capital intensities. So those aspects come later. जब ये तीन चेकलिस्ट हो जाती है तभी आती है वैल्यूएशन. अगर इन तीन चेकलिस्ट में ही कंपनी अगर फेल हो जाती है तो वैल्यूएशन तक आती नहीं है. बट पॉइंट यहाँ पे ये है सर कि ये इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन इसलिए है कि अगर आप देखिए कि व्हाट डज इम्पैक्ट ऑफ गुड क्वालिटी मैनेजमेंट has on the valuation is a very big wealth creator for a investor, and hence all of these things, three four things are tied up with each other. तो ये सारी चीज़ें देखनी पड़ती है before analyzing a company.
That's great. I mean, but निखिल इतने सारे metrics हैं. I mean, ROC है, ROE है, valuations हैं.
Right.
ऐसे टाइम पे जब भी इतना volatility चल रहा है मार्केट में, तो कौन से metrics के ऊपर ध्यान देना चाहिए हमको?
Again, a very interesting question. So look, for a long term investors, जब हम एक कंपनी देखते हैं तो हम एटलीस्ट 3 साल का व्यू लेना चाहते हैं इस कंपनी में. एंड फॉर इन्वेस्टर लाइक अस, ROCE becomes the most important aspect. कई लोग ग्रोथ पे ज़्यादा बिलीव करते हैं, स्पेशली जब लिक्विडिटी ज़्यादा होती है मार्केट में, तो नैरेटिव्स एंड ग्रोथ पे ज़्यादा ध्यान होता है, एंड दैट गेट्स more multiples and valuation than anything else. But in a longer run, if you look at it, ROCE is the best profile to look at per se. There are other aspects also. Cash flows analysis is also very important, and then valuation becomes very important. So in a nutshell, if I have to tell you that growth अगर आप देख रहे हैं कंपनी की, तो what is growth telling you? It is telling you कि कंपनी में क्या हो रहा है. अगर वो कैश फ्लोज में रिफ्लेक्ट हो रहा है तो वो बता रहा है कि ये रियल ग्रोथ है कि नहीं है. अगर वो ROCE में भी रिफ्लेक्ट हो रहा है तो वो है कि कितनी वैल्यूबल है ये ग्रोथ. एंड वैल्यूएशन पे ये है कि आपको इस वैल्यूएशन पे ये ओन करना भी चाहिए कि नहीं. It's not necessarily that good businesses are good investment. That's the same. So that is how we look into all these four aspects.
ओके निखिल टेल मी, अभी आज के दौर में मतलब जिस तरह से अभी जो वोलेटिल चल रहा है, तो इसमें अभी इन्वेस्टर्स को क्या देखना चाहिए? मतलब इमीडिएट अगर उसको 1 साल के लिए इन्वेस्ट करना है तो वो अर्निंग ग्रोथ देखना है, वैल्यूएशन देखना चाहिए, या उसको ये सब रेशोज, मैनेजमेंट क्वालिटी, ऑल दिस इज लॉन्ग टर्म, राइट? शॉर्ट टर्म में अभी क्या
See,
फैक्टर्स मेन
short term
रहते हैं?
में understand that जहाँ पे भी inflationary environment की वजह से impact है, जहाँ margin पे impact है, तो वो आपको रिफ्लेक्ट हो जाएगा 1 ही साल के अंदर. काफ़ी कुछ मार्केट में प्राइस्ड इन भी है. ऐसा नहीं है कि वैल्यूएशंस करेक्ट नहीं हुए हैं. लार्ज कैप, मिड कैप, स्मॉल कैप, अक्रॉस द बोर्ड वैल्यूएशंस करेक्ट हुए हैं, विच इज़ अ रिफ्लेक्शन कि FY 27 में ग्रोथ में इम्पैक्ट है. बट माई अप्रोच हियर वुड बी दैट अगर आपको 1 साल की विजिबिलिटी से इन्वेस्ट करना है और लोगों को पता ही है कि मार्जिन्स पे इम्पैक्ट आएंगे, तो एटलीस्ट इन्वेस्ट इन कंपनीज वेयर देर इज़ अ विजिबिलिटी ऑन टॉप लाइन ग्रोथ. इफ़ नॉट अर्निंग्स ग्रोथ, सेल्स ग्रोथ पे इम्पैक्ट नहीं होना चाहिए. अगर सेल्स ग्रोथ मोमेंटम आपका 20-25% है, तो probably market has already priced in the margin impact, and hence that would mean that अगर आप valuations में थोड़े से disciplined हैं, you will be able to make money even then.
Large cap, mid cap, small cap, multi asset, there are so many options that the clients
Right.
have. तो इस टाइम पे क्लाइंट्स को का एलोकेशन किधर होना चाहिए?
I think if you look at it, my suggestion would be to look into either multi-asset और large cap in nature. Large cap मैं इसलिए कह रहा हूँ क्योंकि अगर आप अभी valuation देखें large cap में, जैसे Nifty 50 right now 1 year forward पे 19 times trade कर रहा है. यही 21 टाइम पे हुआ करता था कुछ महीने पहले तक. सो आप जो हम देखते हैं प्रीमियम देखते हैं कि जो ग्लोबल इमर्जिंग मार्केट इंडेक्सेस हैं, जैसे फुटसी का इंडेक्स है या MSCI का इंडेक्स है, उससे इंडियन मार्केट्स कितने प्रीमियम पे है, निफ्टी 50 कितने प्रीमियम पे है, तो वो प्रीमियम काफ़ी हद तक रिड्यूस हुआ है. बट अभी भी वो इमर्जिंग मार्केट इंडेक्सेस आर ट्रेडिंग एट 14 टाइम्स, वी आर ट्रेडिंग एट अबाउट 19 टाइम्स. सो प्रीमियम अभी बना हुआ है. बट ये लार्ज कैप में रिस्क रिवॉर्ड वाइज बेटर है कंपेयर टू मिड एंड स्मॉल. मिड में सेलेक्टिवली आई थिंक वी कैन एक्चुअली पार्टिसिपेट थ्रू फंड्स. स्मॉल कैप में इट हैज़ टू बी वेरी वेरी सेलेक्टिव फ्रॉम स्टॉक स्पेसिफिक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. वैल्यूएशन स्मॉल कैप में करेक्ट हुए हैं बट अभी भी एलिवेटेड है. स्मॉल कैप इंडेक्स अगर आप देखें तो 23 टाइम्स पे 22-23 टाइम्स पे फॉरवर्ड पे चल रहा है, whereas mid cap is nearly about 26 times forward पे. So valuations corrected हैं but बहुत सस्ते नहीं हैं अभी भी. So hence discipline is important when it comes to
And I think because there was a lot of FII selling also, and that was in large cap,
Right.
so the valuations are, I think, looking good over
Look,
there.
yes, that is true. FII का सबसे ज़्यादा participation large cap
Large
पे ही
cap
होता
में.
है. But FIIs can continue to sell even further. अगर इन्फ्लेशन, ग्लोबल इन्फ्लेशन पे इम्पैक्ट है तो US भी इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ाएगा. अगर US भी अगर इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ाता है तो डॉलर स्ट्रेंथन होगा और रुपी वापस पे इम्पैक्ट वीकन होएगा, विच विल अगेन मीन कैपिटल आउटफ्लो. And this is at a situation where our CAD current account deficit is anyways under pressure, rupee will be anyways under pressure. हमने देखा कुछ गवर्नमेंट ने कुछ steps already लिए हैं to arrest the rupee fall. Hopefully that will be reflected in the rupee performance. But I think from a medium term point of view, there will be volatility in the markets that will continue. So it will be not be easy way to make money for the next 1-2 years in the market.
So Nikhil, continuing with this, our conversation, which are the sectors, that you think are good for investing for next, 5 to 10 years? मतलब कौन-कौन से ऐसे sectors हैं जहाँ पे investors को invest करना चाहिए अगले 5-10 साल के लिए?
So 3 themes हैं जो clearly emerge होती हैं. One is industrials and cap goods area. जो टाइप का capex हम देख रहे हैं अगले 5 से 10 साल में आने का, जो almost 99 lakh crores के आसपास का capex है across the sectors. I think manufacturing and industrials will be natural beneficiaries. Plus there is China plus one kind of a supply chain reset that is happening. Second is energy as a sector. I think demand for energy will outpace the supply over the next 5 to 10 years. Although अभी हम surplus पे हैं, but another 5 to 10 years we will have huge demand that will come in. And third is data centers. I think data centers we are still at a very nascent stage. अभी अगर आप देखें तो कोलोकेशन डेटा सेंटर्स इंडिया में 1.7 गीगावाट्स के हैं, जिसका डिमांड 8 गीगावाट्स तक जाने की उम्मीद है. जिसके लिए $30 बिलियन का ऑलमोस्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट होगा. एंड ये $30 बिलियन को अगर आप ब्रेकअप करके देखें तो वो हर मेगावाट पे अराउंड $4 to $5 million का इन्वेस्टमेंट होता है. And this $30 billion will be split into $6 billion in real estate that will be required for data centers. Then $10 billion of power transmission equipments that will be required. Then about $6-7 billion in cooling plus the infra that is required. ये बहुत सारी डिमांड क्रिएट करेगा एक इकोनॉमी में. एंड जो सेक्टर्स अलाइड हैं डेटा सेंटर्स के, दे विल बेनिफिट अलॉट. सो दैट विल बी अनदर बिग थिंग.
Okay, so you're saying manufacturing, energy, and data centers.
centers.
And okay, Nikhil, what are the some of the red flags? मतलब ऐसे कौन-कौन से red flags हैं जो एक इन्वेस्टर को देखने चाहिए एक कंपनी में इन्वेस्ट करने से पहले?
And I think foremost, I keep repeating it that capital allocation policy becomes the most important aspects to look into. Any company which is not having capital allocation discipline, that will not be a value creator in the long run. Then you need to look into the related party transactions that have happened, whether the earnings of the company and cash flows creation, जो हम EBITDA to CFO conversion बोलते हैं, वो अगर 60% के नीचे है, so that also becomes a red flag. So ये दो चार चीज़ें आपको हैं जो red flags हैं. दूसरा चीज़ आप ROCE प्रोफाइल भी चेक कर सकते हैं. If a company is earning ROCE प्रोफाइल of less than 10%, that means वो अपना cost of capital से भी ज़्यादा कम बना रहा है. So that again becomes a red flag.
ओके निखिल, जो आजकल हम देख रहे हैं बहुत से यंग इन्वेस्टर्स हैं 18 साल 20 साल 25 साल के जो मार्केट में आ रहे हैं, उनको क्या माइंडसेट से आना चाहिए, कैसे उनको इन्वेस्ट करना स्टार्ट करना चाहिए?
Look, I would say that यहाँ पे पहले तो having a mindset of compounding, letting the equity compound over a period of time. होता क्या है कि कई बार हम कोई स्टॉक में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं जहाँ पे एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं कि ये स्टॉक यहाँ से डबल हो जाएगा. वो हो सकता है 3 साल में डबल हो भी जाए, बट प्रॉब्लम ये होती है कि कभी वो लीनियर नहीं होती. ये हो सकता है कि अगले 18 महीने तक वो स्टॉक वहीं का वहीं रहे, एंड देन उसके बाद के पीरियड में वो पूरा रिटर्न्स निकाल दें. सो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू पॉइंट हियर इज दैट फ्रॉम अ यंगर जनरेशन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, पेशेंस इज बिगर वर्च्यू. I think entire investment 60 to 70% is behavioral finance than the actual science behind it. So working on that is more important.
Nikhil, what excites you more about India's financial future over the next 1 decade?
Look, there are 3 angles to this. One is formalization of economy itself. Unlike any other countries, इंडिया में आज भी 25% से 30% ऑफ द इकोनॉमी इज़ इनफॉर्मल इन नेचर, जो GDP कैलकुलेशंस के बाहर है. ये नंबर अराउंड 50% हुआ करता था 20 साल पहले. इट हैज़ नाउ reduced to about 25-30%, and another 20 years it will reduce further. Every UPI transaction that we do, every bank account that gets opened, every shop that gets GST, there is more formalization happening. इसका बहुत बड़ा इम्पैक्ट ये है कि आपकी GDP में एक अल्फ़ा वहीं से क्रिएट हो रहा है जहाँ पे इनफॉर्मल इकोनॉमी फॉर्मल इकोनॉमी में कन्वर्ट हो रही है, जो बाकी कंट्रीज़ के पास वो अल्फ़ा है नहीं, सिर्फ इंडिया के पास है. सो दैट इज़ पॉइंट 1. सेकेंड इज़ व्हेन आई सी केपेक्स साइकिल इन इंडिया. आई थिंक आज के डेट में कंपनीज़ की बैलेंस शीट स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट है लास्ट 15-20 साल में. बैंक्स की बैलेंस शीट अगर आप देखो तो लास्ट 15-20 साल में अभी स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट है. अब यूटिलाइजेशन लेवल बढ़ रही थी बिफोर द क्राइसिस, but if this crisis and the tariff situation gets settled down and utilization pulls up, there will be super capex cycle that happens, and ये capex cycle 7 से 10 साल चलेगा, which will be a big lever. The third is formalization of financial savings in India. Right now Indian household has $11 trillion of household savings. उसमें से single digit participation है equity में. US में अगर आप वो नंबर देखें तो 40% पार्टिसिपेशन है इक्विटी में इन द हाउस होल्ड सेविंग ओवरऑल. अगर हम 5% इंक्रीमेंटल सेविंग वो $11 ट्रिलियन का भी ले आते हैं अगले 10 साल 15 साल में, दैट इटसेल्फ इज $500 बिलियन ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट इन इक्विटी दैट कैन कम. सो दैट्स अ बिग थीम दैट इज प्लेइंग ऑन, एंड आई थिंक वी आर एक्साइटेड अबाउट दीज 3 एस्पेक्ट्स.
निखिल, इज इंडिया एक्चुअली एंटरिंग अ मल्टी डिकेड ग्रोथ स्टोरी जैसा हम सुनते हैं? आपका क्या विचार है इस पर?
It's an interesting question, and logically answer is yes. Mathematically अगर मैं सिर्फ उसको इम्प्लाई करूँ कि अगर नॉमिनल जीडीपी 10 से 11% से ग्रो होती है फॉर द नेक्स्ट 10 to 20 years फॉर इंडिया, corporate earnings will at least grow by 12%. A 12% over 20 years compounded would mean that the corporate earnings will become 10x from here. So structurally, yes, we are in bull run. Mathematically, yes, we are in bull run. Will it be linear? No, definitely not. अगर आप यूएस मार्केट में भी देखें तो यूएस मार्केट काफ़ी डिकेड्स से बुल स्ट्रक्चरली एक बुल रन में है. But yet we had 1929 drawdown, 1973, 2000, 2002, 2008, 2020. There were drawdowns which was 35% to 50% in those markets, and वो drawdown भी 1 से 3 साल रहे थे. So ऐसे phases हमारे country में भी आएंगे. But structurally, yes, we are in a multi-decadal bull run is what we truly believe.
तो निखिल, ऐसे कौन कौन से रिस्क्स हैं जो आपको लगता है कि ये जो इंडिया की लॉन्ग टर्म ग्रोथ स्टोरी है उसको रिस्क में डाल सकते हैं? ऐसे क्या आपको लगते हैं रिस्क्स?
See, structurally, India is one of the strongest country in India in the world, but there are two big risks, and they have to work together to derail our growth or our investment thesis in India itself. One is obviously geopolitical risk, जो include करता है tariff kind of a situation और geopolitical tension that happens. उससे external demand कम होती है for Indian products. The second aspect is internally, if we fail to create enough jobs, or if there is a wage growth or per capita growth doesn't happen as much, then mathematically all the assumptions falls, and these two has to work in tandem. अगर दोनों हुए तो शायद ये situation आ सकती है कि we might get derailed for some period of time, but I think logically the probability of that happening is very, very low. So I think India is in a good place per se.
And Nikhil, we are seeing that AI is changing the world. मतलब it is impacting all the sectors. How do you think AI is impacting the fund management or equity research as a sector?
Well, actually, no, it is not impacting. It is transforming the entire research processes. So, what is good about AI currently is that current models जो available हैं, they are very good in crunching the 200 pages annual report and giving out what are the accounting anomalies or accounting policies that are important or disclosures that are important to be read. जिस काम के लिए एक एनालिस्ट को 3 दिन लगते थे, शायद अब वो 3 घंटे में हो रहा है. तो productivity wise it has gone 10x for an analyst as well, and for fund manager as well. So probably we are able to for the first time look into smaller niches companies, niches sectors जहाँ पे हम अपने कवरेजेस एक्सपैंड कर सकते हैं, जो पहले ये सिचुएशन नहीं हुआ करती थी. बट व्हाट इज़ AI राइट नाउ नॉट गुड एट, दिस ये भी इंपॉर्टेंट है समझना. AI currently is not good at understanding whether the management guidance is too aggressive in nature or not, or whether the moat of the business is shrinking because of the competitive pressure or because of this. These things will take time, but it is definitely helping us in transforming the entire investment space as such.
निखिल, बुल मार्केट और बियर मार्केट क्या फंड मैनेजर के लिए डिफिकल्ट होता है, कौन सा आसान होता है एक फंड्स को मैनेज करना?
ये थोड़ा काउंटर इंट्यूटिव है. एक्चुअली इफ यू लुक एट इट, अगर एक फंड मैनेजर के पास लार्जर SIP बुक है, सो इट इज़ ईजियर टू मैनेज द बेयर मार्केट साइकिल्स. बुल मार्केट में इट इज़ ईजियर टू गेट कैरिड अवे इवन फॉर फंड मैनेजर्स. बट बेयर मार्केट में जब ड्रॉडाउंस आते हैं इन द फंड और द NAV, और आपके पास SIP फ्लो है, यू कैन ईजिली इन्फ्यूज दोज फ्लोज इन योर हाई कन्विक्शन आइडियाज़. बट जहाँ पे आपके पास SIP फ्लो नहीं होते या रुक जाते हैं, दैट क्रिएट्स अ प्रॉब्लम फॉर अ फंड मैनेजर इन द बेयर मार्केट इटसेल्फ. एंड हेंस always the request to the investors have been that it is good for investors also to get a better NAV at a lower levels. Hence, don't stop your SIPs ever.
गोल्ड, इक्विटीज, डेट, कितने सारे एसेट क्लासेस हैं, तो कैसे कि इन्वेस्टर को देखना चाहिए अपना एसेट एलोकेशन या डाइवर्सिफिकेशन? हाउ शुड ही सी इट?
Look, for a young investor who's just started earning, उसके लिए तो एडवाइस ये होगी that for the next 5-10 years just go bullish on the equities as a portion. Probably 10% आप गोल्ड रख सकते हैं as a hedge to your equity portfolio, and probably 10 to 15% of debt for emergencies, but otherwise the majority of the portion should go in the equity only. For an investor who is in the middle ages, I think multi-cap and multi-asset allocation funds, they are the best ways to invest and participate. They should also have about 70%, 60 to 70% of their allocation in equities. But for investors who are little elderly, I think the equity portion should not be more than 30-35%. But even at current junctures, I think one should use this as an opportunity to add to your equity portion, because in the fall, the probability of PE expansion is even higher than when the stock is already up or the markets are already up 10-15%.
Okay, Nikhil, now we'll start with rapid fire. One sector that you are bullish on over for next 1 decade.
Industrials.
One investment mistake that investors make every time.
Look at the recent returns of an asset class and then expect the same returns to continue. And when those returns does not materialize, they sell those investments. I think that's a mistake that every cycle investor makes.
Equity or gold for next 5 years?
Definitely equity.
Okay, Nikhil, one piece of advice, if you want to give to young investors, what would that be?
I would say that have a disciplined approach towards investing, have patience, think long term. Wealth is always created through compounding and not looking at the short term noises of the market.
Thank you very much, Nikhil. There were great insights were provided to our viewers.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
What an incredible conversation that was. From market cycles and valuations to investor psychology and India's long-term growth story, today's episode reminded us that successful investing is not just about picking the right stocks, but about building discipline, perspective, and patience over time. The discussion was filled with practical insights and real market wisdom that every investor can learn from. A huge thanks to you, Nikhil, for sharing such honest and experience-driven perspectives with all of us. If you enjoyed this episode, do like, share, and subscribe to MF Bharat Learn from Master series for more powerful conversations with India's leading market expert and investment leaders.